folks. Good evening. I'm here with Briar. I'll let Briar introduce himself, but we get a little, might get a little back and forth here. I'm a non NPS member, and of course, that's the topic tonight. And Briar is a NPS member. But Briar, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I am an NPS member. I joined about 6 years ago. I sound like I'm at a meeting, one of those meetings where you have to tell everybody. but but anyway, so I'm a real estate photographer for the most part. That's what I do Monday to Friday, and on the weekends I shoot weddings. I try to do 15, maybe 20 a year. It's kind of my new goal. I used to go 12 to 15. Now I'm looking at 15 to 20, and it's fun. The reason I shoot weddings is because they're so much fun. It's a happy event. Everybody's smiling, laughing, lots of joy. So I enjoy it a lot. And then I also do marathons, which is surprisingly lucrative, and you don't have to edit. You just hand over your JPEGs. They give you a memory card before the race. You hand it back to them after, and that's it. And so it's a great way to shoot early Saturday and Sunday mornings and still be able to spend time with your family. So that's why I'm a marathon shooter, and I love sports. I think if I could be a full time, if I wasn't blessed and fortunate enough to have a wife and kids, and I was just a single guy, I think I'd probably go for college and pro sports, and I'd probably still do weddings too. But you got to work with what you're able to do with your time constraints, with your family constraints, and so that's what I do in a nutshell.
All right. So we're going to kick it off here in a minute on the topic, but let's see. Charles, good to see you. And no problem. Don't thank me for doing this. This is just I'm thanking Brian or Briar because he contacted me, said he'd be available tonight and jump in here, which is appropriate because again the topic is NPS and is it right, is it wrong? But evening, I am Hassan. Glad to see you back. Woody, always good to see you. Jeffrey, good to see you. So you guys can chime in with your opinions, and that's what it's all about tonight. It's just opinions. We don't have any facts to go on other than the little bit that we've read from Nikon. So, and that's been a little bit, and that's been one of my biggest complaints about Nikon. I love the products, love the cameras, the lenses, the glass, everything. I love it, but they're not the most communicative company that there is. I don't know that Sony and Canon are any better. So, it may not, it may be a camera manufacturer thing. I understand corporate secrets and all the things that go into the development process and everything, but it just seems like they could connect with us, the consumer, a little bit better, especially Nikon USA. So I think everybody's probably seen, hey, Mike, good to see you too, buddy. I think everybody
Hey,
has
Mike.
seen the memo. I don't know what it is. The paper that came out, Nikon expressing their plan on how they were going to roll out the Z9. This is just recent. Uh, there are actually two, I guess, that are out now. One talking about NPS members that got their orders in no later than the 19th, which is passed, obviously, would be in the first batch. In that first batch, here's where everything gets vague from the 24th of December to mid January. Mid January. So it could be that they just don't know what their shipments or how the shipping is going to go. I would guess that they're using air for some of this now because obviously they don't have as many products or cameras that are being delivered. Um, so
It could be the story of under promise, over deliver. Because I was
yeah,
actually surprised that I was going to get a camera in January when I ordered it December 13th, like we talked about earlier. I was pretty shocked. I thought I was going to wait until May or June, but lo and behold, lucked out.
yeah. So I think you're absolutely right. And I mean, there are hints out there that it's not going to be as bad.
Right.
But if you're on the fence, so to speak, because you're a non NPS member and you're waiting, if you're way up in the queue as far as the either prepaid, pre ordered, or on a waiting list, you look at everything more critical, and the communication so far would indicate that we're just, we're out right now. We're not even in the running for an early shipment. So that may not be the case because I have heard a few that are getting their camera. They're non-NPS members, and Europe just opened up, and we're hearing people out of Europe that are receiving their cameras, their Z9s pretty soon, and they're some of them are non-NPS or NPS members, yeah, for whatever region they're in. They're the Europe, you know, NPS Europe or Nikon Europe. So, there's some mixed signals going on, and you're right. We could all be extremely surprised here in a few days. Um,
I think all indications were. I didn't even think that every NPS member was going to receive a camera, right off the bat like this. And apparently, at least for Nikon USA, we're all going to get them. And I was amazed by that. So either they made more than we thought they were going to make, or they just underpromised, and now they're able to deliver because our expectations were so low.
yeah, they made more, or they were in production earlier than we thought. I mean, nobody knows. We just speculated because we saw the pre-production reviews and the ambassadors using the cameras. Excuse me, and just assumed that maybe that's when production, you know, actually began. But it may have began as early as July or August. Who knows? And if that's the case, that's a good thing. If the numbers they provided are true of 3,500 units a month, so yeah, so we could be surprised. Hey, Robert, good to see you. Jeffrey, just real quick, comment up here. So I'm not an NPS member, obviously, but my 100 to 400 is on its way. I ordered it from Picture Line out in Salt Lake City, so it takes forever for me to get anything ground all the way over on the East Coast. But it's due for delivery next Tuesday, the 28th. That's
Mine is supposed to be coming in tomorrow.
oh, good.
So
So I see these things, and I try to put the puzzle together, and I'm thinking, okay, if that's the case, then maybe there's a good chance that there are more Z9s than we think, and that I'm still going to be somebody that can count on the first batch. Now, I don't expect it before the beginning of the year, because Nikon has stated between 24 December and mid January. And you know why? Because, well, Nikon USA, I don't know if it's Nikon or Nikon USA, but either way, here in the US this time of year, good luck on getting anything shipped in a timely manner, because this is the heavy season. But maybe
yeah.
maybe I'll come back and apologize to NPS here or Nikon USA.
We'll try to get them in the chat so you can do it, do it in real time.
Yeah. Let's see.
Hey, Nikon's here. Hey, Nikon. Hope to see you, meet you one day, buddy. Nice guy.
There he is. Yeah, he's one of the plank holders for certain. He's the one that's pushed me to continue this, because at first I was thinking I'll just have fun, but it turned into more fun, and Nikon's kept pushing me along, and I appreciate it.
Good job, Nikon. I'm glad he's still around too, Chuck.
Yeah, I am too. We chat all day long. Agnetha, good to see you in here as well. So what do you guys think? Based on what we know right now, NPS, well, what we know, what we think we know, NPS members, they're going to fulfill all NPS pre-orders or orders between now and the 24th and mid-January. There was no mention of any additional units. So I think that's what's scaring a lot of us is, wait a minute, does that mean that there will be no off-the-shelf cameras delivered in this first batch? What do you guys think? Oh, we'll get a comment here in a minute. It's always a little bit of latency between us and you guys, the audience. Sorry about that. I can't fix that. I wish I could.
It could be. So I have two young boys, 12 and 6, and they might. Oh, did you lose me, Chuck?
You're back. Yeah, it's not that, Briar.
Oh, you got me back.
Yeah, I got your audio, but you froze. Yeah,
Okay,
we'll hang
good
in
deal. We're playing.
there. Okay, no problem. Hang in there, man. It'll come back in a minute. Let's see. Hey, Night Can't. I I see some orders being fulfilled over in, well, not your neck of the woods, but not too far away. I guess, is Belgium the center where everything comes in? All Nikon products come in and they're farmed out to all the different European countries. It seems like I heard somebody talking about that. Uh,
Okay, hopefully problem resolved. The kids had just turned on Netflix, so there you go.
well, I don't want to. We don't want to ruin the kids' night.
Oh, they've had Netflix all day. They've
Okay,
had
all right.
YouTube, and they're fine. They need to read a book. That's what they need.
They're going to hate me if they find out what caused it.
I won't tell them.
Okay.
Oh, Nikan, I always feel for you, buddy, because I know you always say you get yours last. I feel for you, man. If I could get mine and teleport it to you, and then you just send me yours when you get it, I'd do that, man. Because
Yeah. Go ahead.
I know I feel so bad for him.
So now I keep pushing them. Don't be negative, man. It's still a possibility. Hang in there. Have hope.
You never know. You really never know. They've surprised us so far. I mean,
Yeah. So, Mike, you said wager cameras. Let's go through our list to get everybody involved here. Cameras so far bought and sold. No doubt about that. I agree. The question is how many are available and who's going to get them. That's really the topic tonight, and using NPS as a punching bag here, or from my side. So if I get too negative, you guys just let me know. And I have a reason, and we can talk about that as soon as we get into NPS itself. Robert, let's see. Yeah, same here, Robert. And I was talking to Briar about that earlier before we went live, and there that this is a good topic, I think, because maybe it'll answer some of the questions for me. But talking about Nikon, their Nikon Professional Services, the qualifications, and there may be people that are left out in the cold, and I may be one of them, and I'll explain that here in a minute. Yeah, same here, Robert. Not yet, but I just sent yet another application. Now they might take it. They might not be happy with some of the things I said in it, but I was explaining, why am I relegated to the no go pile before you even ask a question? Because I have to explain my case. It's not cut and dry, fill in the blank for me. So we'll talk about it here in just a second.
Chuck, I know for when I became a member, I had to have another NPS member. I don't know what you call it, vouch for you. You
Yeah.
know, so do you have someone that's doing that for you, or?
Well, I know I could. I haven't received an application yet, is the problem. All I've done
Uh,
is, sent the initial, hey, I want to become an NPS member with what little they let you speak of. But I filled the details. I think it's something like provide any details that may not influence, but help the NPS team understand, blah, blah, blah. So I filled that up. Let me tell you, I filled it up. Um, but I haven't seen anything come back yet that says, okay, here, fill out the application. So I know that is one of the requirements, or I think I read it in their requirements now as well. But yeah, I know I can find somebody that's an NPS member that can do that.
so
That
you
should,
just haven't got that far yet in the process, is what you're saying?
exactly,
Haven't let you
exactly.
do that. Hmm.
And the other thing will be, the big thing for me is just I can't provide a portfolio. I don't have a website really to speak of to showcase my photography. I've got a great portfolio built with the client I work with. Unfortunately, it's an NDA and I can't touch it. And not just that, but everything is proprietary that I do, they keep. So that's the part I need to be able to explain to NPS so they understand. I can send them all kinds of photos. Maybe I should have uh, I have a Flickr page that I won't update anymore because they want money now. But
Uh,
I mean, I have that. So anyway, that's where I'm at with my NPS piece. And unless they come back to me, I understand. Well, I understand from experience, you never hear a peep from them unless they invite you to fill out the application. So I may
Uh,
be out in the dark.
Chuck Jeffrey has an interesting. Well, it's not a question, just a comment. He says, "I wish NPS had a window to place an order. I do believe they deserve to be priority, but not forever. If they had 30 days, but go beyond that date, they should be put in the mix forever." I actually agree with that. I know that eventually. So when you go to place an order through NPS, they have a list of gear, and it's always their most recent releases. And but the thing is, even I think the 105 micro is still in that list, and that's been around for over a year now. So that's hasn't it? It's probably roughly a year, right? It's been around for long enough,
Yeah.
more than
Well,
30 days certainly.
you
So
talking about the Z mount, the 105S?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but how many people there's I know that there
it's
are
still
more
rare,
people
right?
that are receiving it now, but early on there were people that were waiting for months for that lens.
Yeah. So maybe as long as it's rare, they keep it in NPS's pool, and then once it's not as rare a thing, or if all of NPS, if all of most of their members have it, then they take it out.
But how many pros are out there, especially action photographers, sports, whatever, motorsports and everything else, have a D5? They're still shooting on a D5 or a D4, you know?
Probably a lot.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
are they out, out in the cold because of that? Because I doubt it. There are a lot of them that have been waiting and waiting and waiting to even invest into Nikon mirrorless. So yeah,
Yeah.
these are the mysteries, and these are the things that I don't have an answer for.
I think some of the pros are so busy working sometimes, like the photojournalists and the sports photographers, they don't even know. Well, they know a mirrorless system exists, but they had no idea that they didn't think they would ever get a flagship. I've talked to some of the races that I cover. Naturally the news media is there, so the journalists from the Baton Rouge and New Orleans newspapers will be there, clicking around, and I talked to some about 6 months ago, and they were surprised that Nikon was even making a flagship. They had no idea. They thought they were going to be stuck with their D4s and their D5s forever. And I think it sounded like it hurt their feelings. Like, come on, why aren't you guys supporting us? We're the pros. We buy the big ones and the big lenses, big telephotos, and why aren't they catering to us with a camera that we can match to these things? So
Yeah, but
ma-
now
ma-
let's talk about that for a minute, real quick. So, where does Nikon sell more cameras? To actual pros or to the community at large?
I would think it'd be the community. Mm.
That's the bread and butter, honestly, for Nikon. I mean, more camera sales mean more dollars to the company, which means more R&D, and they can continue to be innovative. If you alienate your customers, that doesn't do any good for marketing. Now, with NPS, I agree with you. I think there has to be some allegiance to the NPS members, no doubt about it. But at the expense of losing other customers, and there are people that are already talking about, well, I'm not going to get it now. I'm going to cancel my order now. Who knows whether they will or won't? But that's still not good PR. And
Yeah.
Nikon needs to figure this out. And they've had a problem, in my opinion, with marketing for a while now. I go back to a video I did, and I'm going to make this short because I want to get you back in here, Briar. I did a
I'm
couple of
good.
years ago talking about during the beginning of the pandemic, man, Canon was firing off rumors, and rumors aren't espionage; they're strategically leaked from these companies. There's no doubt about that. There may be some that aren't, but for the most part, but Canon and Sony were on the ball because we were a captured audience. What audience? What could people do but watch YouTube and certain things like that? And Nikon was quiet as a church mouse, not a peep out of them. And I say they missed a perfect opportunity to get back in uh, with some clever marketing and help their sales out. Maybe they were not happy with what they had produced thus far, although we'll all say the Z6, Z6 II, Z7, Z7 II are great cameras. But because of the negative press they were getting from so many influencers and things like that, maybe that kept them back. But my point is their marketing hasn't been fantastic. So that's an opinion, and you guys might not agree with it. So go ahead, Briar. I don't want hog this up. I'm going to look at some of the comments and get them in here. See if we can get
Okay.
some
Well,
updates.
I was just thinking. I mean, I agree with what you said because when you walk into a Sam's or a Costco, and you've got all the electronics staring you in the face when you walk in, the big, 4K TVs and everything, you'll see a pile of Nikon and Canon, cameras, and it's never, you're not going to find a pile of Z9s for sure. You're going to find the entry level crop sensor cameras, and that's to me proof that that's what they sell the most of. If it's at Sam's, you know, Sam's and Costco, man.
So, Robert, I see you need to update some of your cameras and things like that. But see, that's a shame too. Now, um, I know one of the sticking points for NPS membership is deriving some amount of income from your photography work business or whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen the application. Maybe you can answer this, Briar, but I don't know what that means, whether you have to show some financial documentation showing or if it's just a check the block, if it's, 500 to 2000 a year or whatever.
Yeah, I think, well, naturally they have the gear requirements with a couple of cameras, and you have to have, I think maybe it's 4 lenses, something like that. But I know, I want to think, I'm thinking they might have asked for my tax ID number too. So that's part of it. I mean, it's been several years now, so I don't remember. And then it was the website. I don't even have a website anymore. I just have a portfolio because through Adobe, the photography bundle for Lightroom and Photoshop, you
Right.
get 5 free websites. You know, so as long as you can pay GoDaddy, $2 a month, $25 a year, you can have a website. So it's not like Squarespace, which I think is an awesome website, but you don't have to. That's I don't know how much it is, but it's probably $60, $100 a month. That's not even worth it for me. I would never, I'd have to make 120, 150 a year to to validate that. So
Yeah.
but I think those are the only requirements. And then you have someone else vouch for you that yes, I know this person, he or she is a pro photographer, and you know, and I think that's it, unless it's changed.
Well, the initial chop when you apply for membership is just a very brief few questions. Which pick two cameras that you own, two lenses, and I can't remember what else. It does talk about be prepared to provide more information. Uh, I guess that means when you get the actual application, and it also, I think it mentioned providing serial numbers for your cameras. I
Yep.
think that's a wise choice because, again, I
Yeah.
was telling you earlier, Briar, about the guy I know that is an NPS member and he does $300 weddings. That tells you a lot right there, doesn't it?
You take what you can get.
But he's a pro. He's a pro, and
Right.
I won't say his it, his photography's good. It is, but um, how did he get past the serial number thing if his cameras? And I'm not going to mention anymore about him. And
Is it supposed to be 2 full frame cameras?
hey, it doesn't say. It just
I
says,
just
you look at the list of lenses is a mile long. I mean, you can pick lenses all day long. Most people are going to have two off that list, but
yeah.
cameras may not be the same. And so Robert just mentioned that, he doesn't have a Z6 or Z7 right now because he doesn't care for those cameras. Okay, I get that. Um, does that limit you, Robert? I didn't look at all the cameras that were listed. It wasn't a problem. I picked, I have plenty of cameras to choose from, so I didn't have any trouble there. My problem is showing my work. You know what? If it's a tax ID bar, I'm golden because I have a, uh, a corporation that I do all my contract work under, and
There you go.
that suffices. Then that's great. But now let me say this because I want to get it out here and be, I don't want anybody to think that I lied here in the end. The only reason I'm interested in NPS, and this is probably a terrible reason, and it may be very selfish, is that I want to be able to order these cameras under an NPS order number when the next new camera comes out if I want it. I don't want to be a second class citizen I mean, Lord have mercy, man. I got Canon. I got Nikon lenses everywhere. I got Nikon bodies everywhere. I've sold more Nikon bodies than I have now. And I just want to be able to buy the next camera. Am I selfish? And if so, then okay. I'll throw that
No,
out there for you
no,
guys.
no, you're not selfish. You want to spend money. You spend your money
Yeah.
that you earned to
Yeah.
buy camera gear. That doesn't make you selfish. That makes you a consumer. And every company likes consumers, man. So yeah, there's no. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, um, the only reason I'm a member of the PPA here is because of their insurance. That's it. I don't want their, I don't want anything else from. I don't want their magazine. I mean, I get it. Like I was telling Chuck, it looks great, but it's my mouse pad right now. you know, so that's and I've actually had to use it, and it took some pushing, but I had to use it. We flooded years ago, and I lost some of my real estate photography gear. Had to file a claim, and they pushed back a little bit, but after I told them, look, I've been with you for 7 years now, and this is what you're here for. So put your money where your insurance is, and and help me out here. But that's the only reason I'm a member of the PPA. It's just for insurance. And we shopped around. My wife and I shopped around. We looked at even our provider, who we have car, auto, life, insurance with. Even they couldn't get do it for $300 a year, $320 a year. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's why I picked PPA, and so I can definitely understand why the only reason you would want to join NPS is to have first dibs on gear.
Yeah. I don't want
Nothing
rentals
wrong with that.
or whatever that, not rentals, but you know, I don't need any of their services. I honestly don't. That's why I buy enough equipment that I have what I need. And it's not like I'm traveling to the hinterland and have to drop a camera down a cliff or something like that, and would need a replacement real quick or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I may be selfish. I don't know. I appreciate that you think I'm not being selfish, Briar.
You want to pay your money, man. That's you're a
Yeah.
consumer. That's what they want. You're another one of those people who wants to spend money. How does that exclude you from from accessing gear early on? I don't know, because you'll spend just as much money as a pro.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I do believe that there's a place for a priority with NPS. However, not at the sake of turning your all your customers into raging, angry, whatever, because they feel like they're excluded. So Jeffrey, he says, wish NPS had a window to place an order. I do believe they deserve to be priority, but not forever. I agree, but I don't think even this time we could say forever. So we got to narrow it down. How long should they? And these are all valid questions. It'd be nice if, I'd love to have somebody from Nikon USA say, yeah, I'll sit down in a chat with everybody and talk about it and help us out to understand more. If they had 30 days, but go beyond that date, they should be put in the mix with everyone else. So right now, that kind of happened, I think. But again, their message isn't very concise. It still leaves a lot of room for, well, wait a minute, I have a question. Because they said the cutoff date was the 19th, but I think that applied to, and again, not very concise in their letter. I think that explains that those that did not apply or use their NPS number for purchase, they could not be counted in the first wave of cameras from now until the mid January. They weren't guaranteed they'd get a camera in that time frame. I think it ought to go back to the first couple of days. Now, let me get my rant in here. I think that if a pro hasn't decided 2 days after a camera's announced, then they go into the mix with everybody else. That's going to make a lot of pros angry. But you know what? If you can't make your mind up, you probably don't need that camera very bad.
I'm
So,
in that category, and that's why, yeah,
yeah,
and that's why it surprised me when she told me I'd be getting my camera in mid-January. It's what I thought it would be May or June.
yeah. Again, I don't have a problem. You want to make up your mind. If you make up your mind later and you're willing to say, well, okay, I'm going into the mix with everybody else, or maybe they can come up with some algorithm to get it a little sooner. But you know what? When you're bumping everybody else, so I've been on this list with the camera store since March. And
Man.
they were reluctant at first, and I've told this story. I won't tell it again. But anyway, I am number one on the list for non-NPS, member. And if somebody 3 weeks after it's announced, because he's got an NPS number, can say, you know what, I think now I want it, and bump
That's
me
me.
to May or June, I'm not happy with that Nikon. I'm not happy at all. So that's
Yeah.
my issue. And so, Jeffrey, I'm with you, but I think they need to rethink and maybe just communicate more if that's not what they're saying. Why won't they do that? Are they so big and so bold now that they don't have to communicate with us? I mean, come on.
I don't know
It's
if they
a
know
rail
how,
against
Chuck.
Nikon products. It's definitely against the corporation itself. So, anyway.
Yeah. Hey, Lee, remember I told you the Z9 manual is over 900 pages. Lee says I'm up to page 200. It's yeah, imagine if they shipped that to you, man. That would be a little brick, little phone book brick.
Oh, here we go. So Jeffrey again. I have a dealer that would sponsor me. It's just a problem with earning money with my camera, and that kills me. Yeah. So Jeffrey, question: have you researched that to figure out how you actually show that you earn money with your camera? Because I don't know.
I wonder if they can use your tax ID to find that out. I don't know
I'm
if
sure
that's
that's
something
a
that's public.
guarantee. It should be, but I'm wondering if there's another way. Because do you have to be incorporated or have an LLC or anything? I would guess you do, Briar.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, you kind of have to, or you're showing your hand there, aren't you?
yeah,
It,
that's right.
I'm just accepting money from people. Yeah, that's a dangerous game these days.
And I guess you have to have requirements, and they've made their requirements, and that's and they're sticking to them. And I don't know. I wonder if like you said, Nikon doesn't say a whole lot. They don't tell you until the last minute. I wonder if they do have a formula for gear that's available through NPS. Maybe there is a formula. Maybe it's based on production and the time that it's since it's been released. Maybe there's a formula for that, and we just don't know it, and we'll never know it because Nikon would never tell us something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I
A
mean,
method to the madness. We see it as madness. They see it as a method.
with all the social media, I mean, communication's better now than it's ever been since I've been alive. It's not like it's difficult to drop an I don't know, some kind of a statement or even emails that go out or something that communicate what's going on and communicate it well. I could have egg on my face here in a few weeks when I get a notification, or actually the store calls and says, "You ready to pay for this?" And of course, I say, "Yeah," because right now, by with everything that we know that Nikon's presented and rumor sites and everything else, it doesn't look like that's a possibility. Why wouldn't Nikon at least give us a hint about, hey, look, this is how it's really going to work or something?
Yeah, maybe they made a last minute decision. Hey, we're gonna support all our NPS members first, and then let the chips fall. Maybe they made that decision late. We have enough to send out to our Nikon USA NPS members, so we're going to do it. Maybe if they didn't have the numbers that
Yeah.
naturally they wouldn't be able to. They could be making
Well,
it up as they go along, man.
you know what?
Really.
I got a problem with that too. If a corporation as big as Nikon, I know they're not as large as Sony and everything, but come on, it's a corporation that serves the world as far as photographic equipment go. Not just that, but in the business industry too.
Yeah.
So if you can't tell me they can't give the customers an idea about what's going on. I mean, it's almost as if they're afraid to say anything. That makes it easy though, because no promises, no regrets.
Ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies.
Yeah. So how often will shipments happen? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah,
Have
if they
you?
would just tell us that, just say,
Yeah.
hey, shipments are once a month, for the next 6 months. We'll catch up to you when we can. NPS first, and then everyone else in the order that they asked for it at their
I
store.
mean, help us out a little bit. Throw us a bone. We're keeping your paycheck depends on people like me that are going to buy this stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not knowing that kills you. That's what gets you about everything. That's what gets me about everything when I don't know.
Here we go. That's you, Briar.
Real estate for realtors, weddings, personal. There you go. Yeah, I do a lot of what you do, Lee. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's yeah. And so what's funny is so now I'm a contract photographer for everything that I do. Naturally, I always do everything for weddings and sports, the marathons. But until I was no longer a manager at the real estate photography company I work for, now I'm just a contracted photographer. When tax season came around, that stuff was kind of divvied up differently, as I understand it. Now, my wife does our taxes. She's certainly the genius in the family, so she takes care of all that for me. But I think that's how it worked. But now that I'm a contractor for everything that I do, every penny I earn is for my business, for my photography business, and that wasn't the case before. But I applied for Nikon Pro Services membership before that, and I still got in. So, you know, I wish I could remember the specific questions that they asked me, or I wish, Chuck, they'd let you get deep enough into the process that you could, because it's been so long, I just don't remember specifically what I gave them.
I'll tell you what, when I crack that nut, I will share that with everybody on unless there's an NDA for that as well. But I will share that with people so they understand what they're up against or maybe how to simplify the process. There's no doubt about that. Man.
Oh, is that what Grays of Westminster said? They're expecting very few Z9 cameras. Nikon, did they mention that even for their NPS people or for just everybody? Do you know?
So here's the thing. They said that they determine the allocation for their cameras. That's what Becky said in the latest video this evening. So I guess every region can do the same, and it seems to be the case. Nikon just provides X number of bodies or lenses or whatever to the regional hub, i.e., Nikon USA, Nikon Europe, Nikon whatever. And then everybody gets to determine what they're doing because the allocation for the NPS members, that was a Nikon USA statement, I think.
Yeah, so they're different for every country, like we were talking about earlier, Chuck.
Yeah.
They play it differently, which is weird. That's weird to me. It seems like you'd have this international standard. You know what else is weird to me? Just slightly off topic, but still Z9. Nikon India. So I follow them closely. I don't know. I love it. I love the weddings, the colors, everything that they, it's beautiful stuff. And what I'm noticing now is some of the Indian pros, the what do you call them? Not the NPS members, but the ones that are ambassadors, Nikon ambassadors in India. Just as of like 3 or 4 weeks ago, they started to get in, their cameras. So it makes me wonder if, Nikon, got what Joe McNally was using in company, cleaned that stuff off, and then shipped it to, the pre-production models to India so they could use them because their information came out late. I mean, they had the same release date, but it just seemed like they came out with their content weeks after we did in the US. So
No,
I just
you're
thought
right.
that was kind of weird.
And I loved some of the reviews that they did compared to what I saw in the US. Not that they were bad, but yeah, I loved some of those reviews.
Yeah, definitely different scenery, man. I think that's why I enjoy it so much.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the weddings are just spectacular.
I've shot. I know I'm over 100 by now, maybe even 125 weddings, and I've never shot an Indian wedding, and I would love to.
I've been to an Indian wedding, and it was just fantastic. And yeah, while I was there, I was thinking, man, this is right up my alley as far as colors and
Yeah, maybe one day.
yeah.
I'm retiring in 19 years, Chuck. So maybe in 19 years, we'll see.
Yeah, I want to retire someday too. So the question was, and the answer from Jeffrey, the rumor was 3,500 units a month. Yeah, that's what we heard. But somebody had said that Nikon confirmed that. I don't know. I can't remember now. There's been so much information. Um,
So that would put them between 10 and 15,000 right now, right?
Yeah,
Or
that was
thereabout.
my prediction. Was on the better end, we'd see 15,000 cameras produced for worldwide distribution. Then you know that there's going to be a shortage.
Yeah, see, that's why I never would have expected. But I probably saw that number too at some point, and that's what made me think there's just no way I'm going to be getting this thing in May.
Yeah.
You know,
So
so
again, going back to, I think we talked about it before the stream started. Maybe, or maybe it was afterwards. Maybe they started production on these cameras in August. You know, the videos that we saw at the announcement had been done. Well, Ricky said Rissy. I can't ever say his name right.
Ricci.
He had the camera for 3 months prior to the
Yeah.
announcement. So
Yeah, that goes to show you how much Nikon understands how much influence that guy has. He does an excellent job. He deserves it.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. But I think what we failed to look at is the hardware for the camera could have been in production as soon as they got, a little bit of
That's right.
feedback. It was
That's
the
right.
software or firmware that they would continue to work on. So the camera honestly could have been in production a lot earlier than we think.
All
And I
right. You
hope
just wonder. Yeah, yeah, me too. And I just wonder what like the chip shortage effect that has in there too. That's got to be part of the equation.
yeah, but everybody's keeping that secret. All anybody says is there's a shortage. And Canon has come out. They throw that out there as a reason as well.
Yeah, it's almost conspiratorial.
Yeah. So I guess everybody's in the same boat. So I can't fault Nikon there if in fact it's a parts issue. I get that. But again, communicate it. Let's hear
Yeah.
about it. Help
I
us
mean,
out.
I mean, we know it's real because any any car dealership you pass by, those lots are half empty, and
Oh
and,
yeah.
yeah, and they're just sitting there waiting for the chips.
I saw something on another site the other day. A guy said, "Good luck on getting a Porsche right now." Not that I'm looking for one, but his point is you can't get one, a
Yeah,
new one. Lots are empty.
but if it's rare, it's going to be even more rare.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Um,
Popular camera, Terry. Yeah, Terry. It doesn't help us out, does it? So yeah, wait in line patiently. Well, okay, but I can't. Sorry, buddy. I want to. I really do. But again, I've been jonesing for this camera since March of this year. I mean, it's not like I just made this decision a few weeks ago or a month ago. So anyway,
that's me
but,
again, guilty.
uh,
You know what I think did it for me, and this is going to sound kind of stupid. I'll show you. When I saw, and they're all like this, when I saw that the record button was going to basically be in the same place, I use this button to activate autofocus, and then I can use my dials to go through the modes. When I saw that, I thought, man, okay. It sounds stupid, doesn't it? But it hit me one day. I was looking at a picture of it, staring at a picture of it, and I saw that red button, and I thought, okay, I can, not much of a learning curve there. And I think the last actual pro body I had was the D4. So I've been working with. So I had the 750 for like 5 or 6 years, and then the D6 and the D6 II, and that's where I'm at now. But I also saw, and I just learned this today looking through the manual. Apparently, there's some kind of function button to activate autofocus. I wanted to say like it's on the side, and I'm just thinking when maybe your thumb here would activate it because you're at your lens. Maybe your thumb. It's easy access for the thumb. I don't know what the social engineering is there, but I guess that's why. So that'd be pretty cool too if I had something, as long as it's at a fingertip where you can cycle through autofocus.
so that's been
I'm
on
cool
the
with it.
Pro Buddy and Prosumer cameras. That
So
autofocus mode switch on the front side, left hand side of the camera.
but this, okay, so I have a D610 here. Where am I? So this, I have this switch here, but it almost looked like it was a button on the Z9.
Huh.
It looked, yeah. I mean, maybe I'm seeing things, but it was when I was looking at the manual earlier today.
Okay.
Yeah, the switch is really cool. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's only on the lens now for the mirrorless cams. autofocus to switch from auto to manual. There's no button here on my Z6 too. So
Yeah.
the more buttons, the better to me. Because if you don't like them, you can ignore them. But if you do like them, they're there for you to
You're
use.
absolutely right. And that's one of the other things that separates the prosumer and flagship cameras from the lesser models, if you will. It's not that they always take better pictures. D750 was a fantastic camera.
Oh
But
man,
my point is that you have the ergonomics are better because you don't have to search a menu to just do
right.
something like change the ISO or something. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Takes a little bit of time to make it muscle memory. It takes
yeah,
time, but if you do it enough, you know. Yeah, Nikon. See, you deserve the Z9 more than anyone. You deserve the Z9 more than me and Chuck put together.
yes,
Action sports, wildlife, aircraft. I mean, those are fast moving things and erratic moving things. You need one. You know.
I'm going backwards here, guys. I'm trying to keep up with you. Get you in here in the chat. Starting thinking need to begin production of this way back. Yeah, I agree. We're going to find out real soon. At least we're to a point now where it's not that far away. The shame of it is we only find out after the fact. Instead of being proactive, we're having to live through it to figure out what's going on. So,
Do you think so? This is something I've thought about. Do you think Nikon users are more like if are we more this is stupid. This is ethnocentrism at its worst applied to a camera brand. But do you think that we're so passionate about our gear that we get emotional and we get upset by any little thing? Like Canon users aren't quite as bothered. I don't look at the Canon rumor sites. I don't read the Sony rumor stuff. I don't read those. Are they just as bad as we are, or worse, or are we the worst?
I,
Are
I,
we the
I
pickiest?
get the Canon rumors quite often just to see what's going on, see what they think about what Nikon's doing, what they think about what's ahead for Canon, and they're just as passionate as we are.
Okay.
Um, but they're not apt to go on everybody else's sites and start trashing, Nikon or Nikon shooters or whatever. Sony, on the other hand, is and it's not stereotyping. They are the absolute worst. The cameras, Sony's done a fantastic job, but those that own Sony think that that is the only camera made, and no matter where you're by or what brand you're using, it's trash. And they will
Uh,
remind you of that every time they're on a site talking about something. And it always starts with, well, the A1's better or whatever, whether they
so
own one or not,
yeah.
and that is, we're all fanboys, but they take it to a whole new level.
So they're the equivalent of the pre-Copernican Earth,
Yeah.
right? The center of
You know,
everything.
and so I'll say this, based on what you were talking about there, I think that it may be majority younger audience in the Sony cam.
You might be
And I
onto
think
something there.
it's brought
Yeah.
about because of one of the things I've complained about with Nikon is if you eliminate video, if you don't address video and address it in the right way, the mirrorless, there's just going to be fewer and fewer camera sales.
Oh
Because
yeah, they would
the
die.
hybrid camera right now is the hottest thing there is because every youngster coming up is hearing from his buddies the only camera you need to look at is Sony. And why? It's because they're all into video. Doesn't matter whether they'll ever use it or be good at it or whatever. If you're a company, you don't worry about what they do after the sale. You're concerned about making the sale.
Right. Yeah.
So, and
Everything they've done before.
and Nikon's done a fantastic job with stills cameras. No, nobody can deny that. But
But they're great for video now too, though. I mean, if
yeah,
you
and you have people that say, I don't care about video. Okay, I understand that you may not use it, but you better hope that Nikon continues down that path because that's where your innovation for stills is coming from.
yeah,
They're
if you like
selling
your
you.
Nikons,
Yeah.
you better.
So,
Yeah. Hey,
uh,
bud. Hey, Yep. You wanna tell everybody hi, buddy? I don't know which way to go here. Here's my youngest here. Say
how
hi.
you doing?
Mr. Chuck said hi. I've got the earphones in, so he can't hear you, Chuck.
Oh, okay, okay.
You got a question? What's that, Chuck?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you got a question for me?
Colin was be able to post his hands off of King Kong.
Oh boy. Okay, so he's strong, huh?
Yeah, and it was glued. It was attached to it, but he broke it.
Oh, so it's broken. It wasn't meant to do that.
No, it's not.
Uh-oh.
But he still could put it back together.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
it
that's
was
good.
not meant to do it.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know. I
Say
appreciate
hi
it.
to Snowy.
Oh, he wants to say hi to Snow. Sorry, Chip.
No, what are you kidding, man? I got
Comb
three.
your hair every
I
day.
got 3 girls and
He's combing my hair.
6 grandchildren.
No, boy. He's combing my comb over.
Yeah.
Can he hear me?
What's that?
Can he hear me?
No, I don't think he can hear you. No, because I've got the earphones in. Okay, go back and meet
Okay,
Mama.
what thing?
All right. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, bud.
I just want to throw this up here, Nikon, talking about in Ireland, some of the requirements there. So yeah, that tells us that every professional service Nikon, it's specific to the region that you're in.
Well, a D500 is a crop sensor camera, but it's definitely a pro camera.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I guess it would depend on where you're at. Maybe some say yes, some say no. I don't know. So again,
what? It'd be funny if someone went in and registered like an F4 and an N50. I had an N50. That was my first camera. It was 1994. My first gig as a little photojournalist in my early college days. You go in and those are technically 2 pro cameras, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get my lawyer after you, NPS, because these are technically, you didn't give me a list of qualifying cameras. You just said it had to be a pro body.
So, I just looked at what Lee was saying there. A lot of people are beginning to believe that maybe the production started a lot earlier. You know what? That isn't going to make me feel any better. Wait. Let me rephrase that. It's not going to change my opinion of the marketing and the communication from Nikon if all of us get a camera in the first wave or whatever, because they could have stated that and put us all at ease.
I just want to know if they know,
Yeah.
It would be, that's what I'm curious about. But they've been that way for a long time, and I don't see them changing. I know, so for the marketing angle, I've actually seen, now it's probably when I'm searching, Nikon information, but on YouTube, there have been a lot of Z6 and Z6 II adverts. I see them all the time. They're out in the skating rink and she's there, filming, with her 4K 60p, video and stuff. So I have seen a few, but I don't know if those kinds of advertisements, if Sony people see those. Is it only Nikon people that see those? I don't know how the algorithms work for how we search things on YouTube and how things pop up and everything.
That's a good point. I don't know, but I guess with the way the algorithm works and Google and whatever, Safari and everything else, that it's probably because we're researching a lot of Nikon products and they're catering to our searches.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would guess that's the case. I bet Canon people could answer that. Ask them if they've seen the Nikon, or they see a lot of Canon adverts.
It stands to reason because I don't see as many Sony and Canon advertisements as I do Nikon. So,
Terry, what was that? We know how many have been built in the past per month. We're only sure they're building Z9s because a couple of people have them. That's a shame, but that's the truth.
It looks like our Australian friends got a lot of copies, or at least, they got early copies. I shouldn't say a lot. That's wrong.
So that's another thing, that there are some early arrivals out there. I know Japan, over on Nikon Rumors, they show some of I guess they may be influencers there that to receive their production version of the Z9. So we're back to no rhyme or reason. In the US, I don't know, and I'm not going to stoke the fire on the JP thing because, well, that just goes bad fast.
Now let's talk about him for the rest of the night.
I'll lose all my subscribers if I go down that path.
Hey, you never know, you might gain a few.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if I want just angry people.
Yeah, he's polarizing
Yeah.
Poland.
Well, you know what? It worked for him. Maybe it worked for me. I don't know.
True. Yeah.
Uh, oh man. Let's see. What else we got?
I'm reading some of the comments here. Just
Yeah, China's their biggest market right now. Nikon's biggest market. Uh,
I mean, they're probably Canon's biggest market too.
yeah, I would
I
guess
mean,
all of them.
yeah, I think that's one of those statistics that,
Uh, well, you know what? Here's that comment. You're absolutely right, but they didn't utilize that opportunity, Charles. They haven't utilized that opportunity going back to the beginning of the pandemic and the shutdown when nobody was moving, and Canon and Sony were just on a roll with information leaks, rumor leaks, and everything else. That's when we heard about the R5 is during the
yeah,
COVID.
that's true. Yep.
You know, why couldn't Nikon drop a little hint? Hey, you know, maybe we got something too. You know, I don't care how far away it was, but yeah, again,
God, I'd love to know the psychology there, just,
oh, me too.
but you know what? Maybe if it were given to us, maybe we wouldn't understand it, like a dog in front of the TV, just, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
can't. Yeah, I
And that makes
agree.
sense to us.
You know, a multi-million-dollar corporation, I'm definitely not the person that should be calling them out for their whatever. But from a consumer point of view, you know, I can say you've been negligent. Um, and if it was a money thing or I don't know whatever, then I don't expect them to explain that to me either. But it seems like everybody else was doing it, so I'm sorry I can't figure out why Nikon would.
On the other side of that, I'm curious. I'd be curious to know just how close they were, because everybody said that the company was doomed to failure. I'd like to know how close they actually were in reality to that. But I mean, that's something that you talk about things we'll never know. That's one thing that we will never know, that they will keep secret for as long as they can. I mean, that's about
Yeah,
pride.
I honestly don't believe they were ever close. I think that they saw they needed to trim some fat, if you will, and obviously they went through a restructuring and things like that. So I just can't believe that Nikon would have been that close to closing the doors on the factory. But you know, you're right. We'll never know.
No, that's one thing we will never know.
Uh,
Yeah, Joe John here said bad things. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
no,
I
go
don't
ahead.
mean
Go
to.
ahead.
I don't
Go
mean to
ahead.
jump.
Go ahead.
No, I was just reading that Joe John said bad thing is that so many of the Nikon shooters never heard of the Z9. I was speechless. Joe, that's I actually heard that from a couple of photojournalists. They had no idea, and this is after the Z9 was announced. These are pros, and they had no idea that Nikon was going to ever build a flagship. I mean, they were depressed. That they were like, we're never going to get, they see me with my Z6 II, and they're thinking, well, I'm glad you got something because we're never going to get, something. It's unreal.
Yeah.
And then I told them, no, guys, this is real. The Z9 is happening.
So
What's it called?
what does that say about Nikon communicating?
There's your marketing.
You know,
Yeah.
NPS should have been all over that. There should have been emails going out to every pro, every NPS member early saying, hey, get ready, you know, from the launch date on.
That is sad. When you think about it, that is sad that pros wouldn't even know what they've got coming down the pipeline. That's
Yeah.
sad.
So Lee's a Canon shooter, by the way.
Oh,
But
cool. Okay.
he's seriously interested in the Z9.
Yeah, Lee, you sound like a very impartial guy when it comes to cameras. So yeah, Canon forms are level best exhort the Xenon. Yeah, it looks like a hell of a camera. I mean, that's why. So yeah, we'll see. But I mean, look, the R3 looks amazing too. I know it's low megapixel, but Canon hasn't even released the R1 yet, which I'm sure is going to be 55 megapixel, 40 frames a second raw. Who knows? What they're going to do.
No, I agree with you. The Canon offering, well, what's out there right now and what's coming look fantastic. And I think all this is good though, because it just means we're going back into the leapfrog, war again in the camera
Yeah.
manufacturers, which is good for all of us.
Yeah, it really.
I
I actually. Go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry.
I want Canon to come out with an R1 that exceeds the
Yes.
E9. Why? Because it means Nikon goes back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Sony's doing the same thing right now. So yeah, that's good for all of us. I don't have a problem. We'll sit in the king chair for a year and then we'll give it up to the next king. That's fine.
Yeah. Getting the Z9 though, I know with my wife, I'm gonna have to have that king for about 5 years before I think of trading that bad boy in. But so I shot a wedding Saturday night with a Canon R6 user, and when everything died down a little bit and we had time, we had taken all the pictures we needed to take. We both put our cameras on live view, and her eye tracking was better than my Z6 II.
Yeah.
And the Z6 II wasn't bad. I mean, it was finding, when it was finding faces, her camera was finding the eyes.
Yeah.
So it's, they're still ahead at that similar, price point, but I'm sure whatever processors in the Z9 is probably going to be in the Z6 III and the Z7 III, I would hope, or the Z8, whatever they,
yeah,
or the Z850, like you call it.
I think we're going to see it from this point on. And all the
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I believe that. And you know what? I'm going to say it will, because Nikon can't afford to not do that.
Oh no, that would be the dumbest thing. I mean, Canon has showed us what happens when you put a flagship processor in prosumer cameras.
Yeah.
They become photographic dynamos. Those cameras are amazing. So
I still have hope though, with the firmware update coming for the Z6 II and Z7 II, that's going to improve too. And I'm not saying it just so I can go out and brag. Yeah, my, whatever's better. My dog's bigger than your dog. No, I mean, I want it. And I know you do, and everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to help. The Z6 firmware update was, some people will say it isn't significant because it's not on Z9 level, but you're never going to make those people happy.
No,
but some that really shoot their cameras as Z6s say, yeah, it is a definite update.
If you compare that camera, first month to what it can do now, I had to actually sold mine back to help pay for the Z9, and it was not easy to do, because that little camera is awesome. It's a phenomenal little camera. It's just, it blows my mind that we've got something that's like $1,500 that with the correct lighting, you could shoot a movie with. I mean, a low budget movie. I'm not saying a Hollywood movie, but you can get about as creative as you would want to. And to think that in $1,500 of tech, you can do that. It's just, it's amazing. We live in a great time. It's, and that of course goes back to why I never understood all the Nikon bashing. I just, because you can still take an affordable piece of equipment. I mean, if you're a college student and you want to be a filmmaker, your parents could go in half with you, help you buy a Z6 or Z6 II.
If we had to narrow it down to one thing that caused all the Nikon bashing, what is it? I know what it is, or I think I know. It is the AF, the IAF.
That's what I'm saying. That IAF, that tracking. That's
because
that's it.
And you know what? I'm not going to say it is fantastic. When you've got that IAF that works extremely well. I get that. But it's not like the camera was useless. And this goes back to what you were saying, Briar. The camera is a phenomenal camera. It feels great in the hand. I have a D6 or Z6. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm using right now with the 14-30. I have a Z6 II over there, but that's as far as I went waiting for the flagship. But those cameras are fantastic, but I can't argue the point over IAF, which I didn't think would be that important or great, but it is for me more so in video, because I'm still a compose and focus, compose and shoot,
Right.
but it definitely simplifies the process.
Well, I can tell you this. So what turned me on to mirrorless was the full frame of focus points and the weight, the lightweight. You know,
Hmm.
those lightweight primes with the mirrorless body. If you've got to
Yep.
carry that around for an 8-10 hour wedding, I always have two cameras strapped on. You know that it's awesome. It's great, and I think it's more important to have a full frame of focus points than it is to have that super fast AF, eye tracking. I think that's, to me, it's more of a leap. And so that's why when people are critical of the early Nikon cameras, it doesn't make sense to me, because just having that full frame of focus points, yeah, you don't get to that eye as fast, but if you want to, have this big negative space on one side of your picture and you want your
Yeah.
subject on the opposite side, you can still go over to that eye, focus on it, and take a beautiful photograph. It's just not as big a deal to me as the autofocus is. But of course, I
Yeah.
can understand why it is a big deal for some people, for photojournalists and full-time sports photographers.
Yeah. So for portraits, for wedding photographers like yourself, sports photographers, any action photography. I mean, it's a game changer. I got to admit, it really is a game changer because it speeds the process up so much.
Yeah,
For landscape photographers, I can see where they could say big deal.
yeah. Oh yeah, give them a Z7 in there.
Yeah,
Z7
no
twos.
problem
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
But anything that moves, obviously, the eye autofocus, and now with the Z9 and all the other little things that it'll do, bikes, motorcycles, cars, trains, planes, and animals, and everything else, and some of those ambassador videos, especially again going back to the latter ones overseas, it's military speak, but I
Yeah, like
really
India.
enjoyed the videos coming out of India, with all the different things and animals and everything else. There were a couple out of Asia with a lady photographer that she was out doing wildlife photography with the Z9, and man, I mean, it's just fantastic that camera. You're going to have it with the R3 if you're a Canon shooter and you're getting the R3, you're going to have the same thing. And again, though, that's fantastic. But those that say I can live without it, sure you can. You can go back and shoot film and survive if you want to, but you can't beat technology, and it's really racing. Now, the one thing that scares me is all the AI in this camera. These new cameras are full of artificial intelligence. That's, I mean, for the camera world, that's great, but that stuff scares me. I hope we don't work our way out of life.
The Terminator scenario. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Isn't it funny that movie? We laughed at it. It was just, hype and whatever. And now we're actually seeing it come to life. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Let me hang on a second. Rakesh, thank you very much for the subscription. I appreciate that you subscribed and jump in the chat and share with us. I'm always happy for those that, obviously here in the States, but anybody outside the U.S. that wants to get in here and chat with us. So by all means do, sir. Uh, what's this? Maybe Nikon underestimated the frustration of poor communication and thought that when they had something ready, we'd all just be grateful. Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say. You said it so much better. Everybody's going to forgive them after the fact. I just want them to be a little more proactive. I'm not going to quit buying Nikon cameras and gear because the corporation can't speak, but still, I think they could be better at it, especially a corporation. They need to hire the same marketing team that does Geico commercials.
That would be great. The Nikon
Oh,
Gecko.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it does make you wonder about the psychology of the advertising, though. I'm really interested, like, like breaking it up regionally. Does Nikon USA have full creative control on how they advertise for each
yeah.
camera, and then Nikon Europe and Nikon Asia? Like, how, because I mean, of course there are cultural differences, and there are great reasons, for that, so I can understand it if they do. But it does seem that if that's the way it works with Canon and Sony, if it's more of a narrowly focused, narrow targeting, they do a lot better job at it.
Yeah,
So
I agree. And I don't want to bash Nikon USA too much, but that's really been the point of a lot of my complaints. And you know what? And just to throw it out here, one of the problems I have is every time there's something new that comes out and Nikon USA rolls out all the, the ambassadors, it's the same ones over and over and over and over. Not that I have any problem with somebody like Joe McNally, fantastic photographer. Lives 15 miles away. I'm going to go ring his doorbell one day. Um, yeah, I'm sure he'd love that. But you
If
know
you do
what?
that,
Get some
record
new blood
it.
in, guys. Get some new blood in there. That's you're targeting people that are already buying your cameras. Get some young blood in there so that the next generation can see it's not a bunch of us old guys, sitting around talking about photographs all the time.
I have the
Yeah.
grade two. I have the grade two, Chuck. Remember Ashton Kutcher
Yep.
used to advertise for Nikon, but that was just
Yep.
a point and shoots, right? It was
Yeah.
never even a crop sensor, type thing. It was always, and I know that's what they should appeal to, because that's where most of the, that's where most of the purchases come,
Right.
come into play. But I just, here's a good example of something that I saw recently, or I heard recently. I saw an Apple commercial, and I hear a familiar voice singing a tune. It's Bruno Mars. Now, that guy is on top of the pop world. I mean,
Yeah.
He's almost as talented as, Prince, for goodness. He's up there with the best I've ever, seen, at least with the voice and everything. So maybe that's what Nikon needs. They need someone, remember they used to use Andre Agassi back in the 90s. He was on Nikon commercials. Why aren't they doing that? It's, if you're not going to use influencers, use star power,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, I go back to, you know what? Don't target my age anymore. Get out. My generation doesn't need to be targeted in advertising. You need to
Right.
be targeting the
Yeah.
20 somethings,
Right. 20
because
somethings
they're
and
the
30
ones that are
somethings.
coming up. They want to get into photography. Ask for the question over and over and over. They're going to say, so is the only way to go. Why? Because show me a lot of young influencers out there. I just saw a couple. I've seen Nikon influencers, and I ran across a couple of young guys that are using Nikon, and there, but they're a little ways from being influencers just yet. But there has to be somebody out there that's not highlighted, and that's what Nikon needs to be doing. They need to get these cameras in the hands of the younger generation coming up, and allow them to then become speakers or unofficial ambassadors for the product. So, we talked about that in video, and they should make a line of cine lenses that are cheap, reasonable, and have the qualities of S class. And there's just a lot of things I think they could do. I doubt they want to hear from me about any of it, but my point is we got to reach to the next generation coming up and quit being old fogies that are making statements like, I don't care if it has video. I don't even want video in it. Oh man, you're not helping the brand if you love it. Shut up. All right, I'm off the stump for a minute. Lost your audio.
Oh, there we go. I muted it because I couldn't hear you very well, Chuck. And when I mute it, I can hear you well.
Okay.
So that's why I did that.
Okay.
But anyway, I forgot what I was saying there. Hey, I just saw Lee Rothman put in that he's chomping at the bit to slap that 100 to 400 on a Z9 and see how it does with bird tracking. And I'm with you, Lee. I can't, my hobbies are, I would love to shoot more wildlife. I've done it, a few times, but that's something that I want to get into. And I love macro. And someone mentioned about the 105, the new 105 Z, and I have it. And image quality is awesome as always, but that macro still focuses so slowly. Maybe it'll do better on the Z9. Maybe once the cameras are, have better AF in them. But it's such a slow focusing lens. But it's gorgeous.
Yeah. It's going to be
delivers.
interesting. I can't wait to get that thing in my hands, and I'm going to be shooting it on the Z6 II. That's going to be next week. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm going to start with that. I'm not going to wait to get the Z9 to slap it on my Z6 II for sure.
Absolutely. Not just that, but I've had the TC 2.0 for a while. So, I'm going to find out whether this 2.0 is as bad as the F mount version.
Yeah,
But,
we'll see. That's a
everybody's
good.
talking about it's going to be 800 or it's going to be F11. I don't care. I'm not afraid of ISO. I'll crank it up, baby.
ISO
Uh,
10,000. Yeah,
yeah,
it's okay. ISO 10,000 looks good. I shot a wedding last year at a jazz hall, and it was so dark in there, but the spotlighting was excellent. So I was shooting at 8 and 10,000 ISO. I can blow those images up to 150%, and there's no color noise. There's like the graininess, but there's no
Yeah,
color noise. It's
I like that.
amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not afraid. I used to be afraid of 10,000 ISO, but I'm not anymore.
Yeah, I had the D700 back, when it came out, and it was such a big leap at the time. Obviously, the D3 prosumer version, the
Yeah.
D700. But yeah, it was fantastic. But I'm sorry, and I love that camera. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't hold a candle to what we are shooting with today. It really doesn't. As far as ISO goes, image quality, it's fantastic still, of course. Touch Life asks, you think Nikon removed video record limit on the Z6 II firmware? I don't know.
I mean, I can guarantee you they can, but I would wonder if they should test it first, and if it doesn't overheat, why not?
Or shoot, at least give it an hour.
Yeah, increase it, but test it first so you don't have overheating issues like the Canons did.
But yeah, I'm guessing that is nothing more than firmware. I don't know. What do you think, Briar?
That's got to be a firmware limitation. I mean, the firmware limits are in there hopefully because they've tested the hardware in long duration situations, and it starts to overheat maybe. But what's the difference between going 30 minutes, turning it off, and then recording another 30 minutes immediately after that? If you can do that, I mean, is there a difference? Maybe it's my ignorance.
I think it's timing. I've heard some other wedding photographers talk about the same thing that are using the Z6, Z6 II. It's just not convenient because you don't get to pick and choose when you can turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah.
For longer events, some people were talking about shooting some recitals or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, look at a Catholic wedding. Catholic weddings, those ceremonies are at least an hour.
Yeah. So I can see where it could be inconvenient for those that are shooting video. Not in every case. I mean, most of the time, like somebody said about the 8K. I mean, how many people are going to shoot 2 hours worth of 8K video
on their 17 terabyte?
Yeah, I can't afford the
Delphin
card.
Black. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad that the camera does it. Somebody's going to find a reason to do that. There's no doubt about it. Oh, man. Just looking at the comments here, folks. You point out anything you see that you want to jump on, Briar.
Well, I think I agree with Jeffrey here. It's what I was saying. Video recording limit is due to the heat sink capabilities to remove heat. The high resolution, the more processing power, and the more heat you generate, not likely on a Z6 II due to body size. So yeah, there you go. I would just, you just hope Nikon tested it out. And if it's a limitation, it's a safety issue. I can live with that, maybe it might upset a videographer more than it would me. I don't use video much, but.
Jeffrey, on your comment there about Photography Life, yeah, Nassim's a great guy over there. He's been around for a while. I've been watching him or following him even before he changed the name to Photography Life. But
oh man, yeah, that's a great website. Oh man, I love that website. That's what I was telling you. People should be watching less Jared Polin. Like I said, I think he's a super talented photographer, and reading more Photography Life. It's, they're not just good photographers. They're awesome photographers. They are great writers, great communicators, great teachers. Their testing is as good as anybody else's, testing, the more scientific tests and just the practical real world tests. They do it all. Excellent website.
Terry, I agree with you. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of old timers will say, it's not bodies that sell, it's lenses. And there is truth in that. But nowadays, excuse me, bodies are just as important, I think, because that's what's pushing the lenses. The more capability the body has, the more you want that next level lens to really put it to the test.
And it's stressful though, because they always come out with new stuff and you always, I always want it. And if it, you know, if every, I guess the way that I think about it, Chuck, is if I'm shooting with an R5 Canon user and she has this better autofocus tracking at a wedding and she gets to nail more shots, not because she's more experienced, because she wasn't, she's new to it, but because she has this wonderful camera that's following their eyes in half darkness, it makes me,
Well,
that's,
Steve Perry, who we all know is a Nikon ambassador and has been fantastic in his reviews, his wildlife photography, and everything else, has a video where he took out the A1 and shot with it. And he
I
said,
don't
I
know.
got to tell you, I got some shots that I would not have been able to get because
Yeah.
of the capabilities of the camera. And he's not, he's not a A1, he's not jumping to Sony. He just brought up the fact that, or was it Sony A1 or the R5? I can't remember, but either one. He
It might have been
said,
both. I think he mentioned both. I
yeah.
think he's worked with
And
both.
oh, there you go. There's a true Nikon ambassador, and he's telling you the truth. So,
Right.
the Z9, we hope, is going to rectify all that.
And
I believe
everything
it
that
will.
follows, hopefully.
I've seen seems to point to that it's going to be. I think Lee said something somewhere back in the comments with the firmware updates that'll come following the Z9 delivery. It's going to be a beast, and I agree. Nikon's shown now that they're willing to really get on the ball with the firmware update, so that's a good thing. So
It's
the new
exciting.
Nikon is looking great, but you have to wait until after the fact to find out that it is.
Right.
Nikon,
After
if you're
you,
listening, communicate.
right. Well, you got to spend $5,500 on that Z9 so that you can get a free firmware update on your Z6 too. Hey, to me, it's win-win because you'll have a phenomenal camera in the Z9 and then you'll have an improved camera with the Z6 too. We all win with all this awesome firmware. I love it. It's good stuff. It makes a difference. And it I know new cameras come out all the time, but it really does increase, the longevity of your cameras if they keep updating the firmware like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would not have been so sentimental with my Z6 had they not just a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, updated the eye tracking.
Yeah.
It made it tougher to say goodbye.
So Joe John, the 105 1.4 is absolutely a popular lens. It is. I mean, within the portrait world, it's definitely a super popular lens. Where the 85 1.4 was for years. I have the 85 1.4 and I don't like it. But I know I'm a weirdo. I didn't get a chance to shoot the 105. I hope that they do. I'm sure they will. Nikon will produce something in that category, maybe in the updated roadmap next year. Who knows? But they know how well it sold. So it was often out of stock early on, too. So they know the lens sells. We can hope. And my favorite comment from Mr. Nikan, he never fails to put a smile on my face with this comment. Especially the early ones, I would agree. They were no friend to ergonomics early on for sure.
Yeah. I'd go into Best Buy just to feel them out, And
Yeah.
I just thought, first off, the menu was like alien, hieroglyphics, and then the feel of those things, and they were so tiny, It
Yeah.
was like, just yeah. But they've improved on that, they've listened. It took them a while.
Oh,
And I can't. I'll let you handle that.
I missed it. I'm searching for it.
It's at the very top. We're all adults here. He
And
says
I'm
that
way behind.
he said Nikon says that the Z9, the John Holmes of mirrorless cameras.
Oh, oh
until the
man.
until the R1 comes out, then John Holmes is going to feel pretty inadequate.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I didn't realize how far behind I was on the comments, folks. Sorry about that. Oh. All right. So this all started out with NPS. And yeah, I'm not going to hold us to the topic, but I mean, I am curious how you guys feel about what we know or hear right now. Uh,
I'll tell you, I just try to put myself in everybody's shoes and understand where everybody's coming from. So, I mean, that's how I try to approach life, and that's how I am with this NPS stuff. I can certainly understand why someone who spent $40,000 on Nikon gear in the past 20 years, would be upset that they don't get their hands on their Z9 when they place the order day one.
yeah.
I can certainly understand that. And I can understand why NPS members would get them early. So
Yeah, that's it. Where's the balance, I guess? And maybe maybe there is a balance that we just don't feel because we don't hear, and it would just be nice again if they would communicate a little bit better. So it just sounded like in their little memo that, hey, guess what? You're not getting it.
Mike Farrell just says, I wonder how soon Best Buy will get the Z9.
You can buy it at Best Buy.
Yeah, you can buy it through them. You will never see it in a store, though. I can guarantee you that.
You're right. You're right. I bought my D700 from Best Buy. Well, through Best Buy.
Really? Okay. So you didn't have one. You didn't get to feel it hands on at the store.
No.
You bought it. Yeah,
No.
that makes sense.
No. No, I don't think. I mean, I think we're going to settle on the fact that maybe it's just the way they communicated this whole process with NPS. Don't know what the real deal is, but you know what? Soon enough, we will know. If some non UPS folks receive this camera in the first shipment, then maybe it just wasn't communicated right. But the way it looked in the memo was, if you're not an NPS member and you didn't order before December 19th, which is a slap in the face too, but then you're not getting a camera. I mean, that's what I saw between the lines.
It's almost as if they say what they shouldn't say, and they don't say what they should say.
Yeah.
That's kind of. Yeah.
Yes, Charles, you are absolutely right. Great movie. When a boy's mama dies, he gets rabbit in his blood.
Lee brings up an interesting point. He says, I strongly feel NPS members should have to order directly via Nikon and not through a retailer, period. So the question is, how would that affect? They still have the same amount of cameras to sell, right? So, I don't know if that would affect anything, because if they have 13,500 cameras ready, and you're an NPS member, and you have to go directly to Nikon for the order. I mean, in a way, you already do, Lee, because
yes,
you have to place your order directly through Nikon first, and then you send it to your store, and they say, okay, now you're at the top of the list now. So I guess that process is kind of in place already.
I don't know. I think that, once you order and you put in your pre-order number and everything else, the camera is then shipped from Nikon USA or through Nikon USA to whatever dealer you've expressed you want it sent to. So it's not the dealer. I still don't believe it comes out of the dealer stock. It just means Nikon USA knows how many NPS orders there are, and they're going to limit. I mean, they could say to the dealer, well, you're not getting any cameras. However, you're going to receive 3 that are designated for NPS members that have asked for it to be shipped from your location or picked up at your location,
Yeah.
something along those lines. But I still think that there are cameras that each dealer gets, and we're going to prove this right or wrong here soon, um, that they can sell, so it's off the shelf, so to speak. And but now the memo and some other people have said there will be no off the shelf cameras available in the first wave. So which is it? How does it work? Nikon, again, balls in your court. Communicate.
It sometimes I think it might be just kind of a crapshoot when you order things, because I had a friend, and ironically he converted over to Canon and he loves it. But he when he was a Nikon user, I think there were a couple of lenses that no one could get. He went directly to Nikon USA and bought them off the website. When B&H didn't have it, his local store didn't have it. So sometimes it's just where you go to look for it. If you try all your avenues, and I know some people do. I know some people look around, they call around, they try
No,
everything they can.
that's absolutely true. The question is what Nikon USA is putting out. Are they saying that, hey, nobody, dealers, just get this in your head right now? It's only going to be. But they would be spoken. It's not like they're waiting for the NPS member to walk in the door holding it. Oh, you want it? You want to buy it now? Here you go. No, I think they're all designated.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think lately, for what we could say, Nikon PR is like our past few presidents giving a speech. I mean, look, whatever side you're on, man, these guys, they can't communicate well at all. Nor can the VPs. Yeah.
so, I know you guys in the UK. I see it in the Greys of Westminster's videos. If anybody would know, and if she does, or they, Becky and uh,
Constantine.
yeah, Con, yeah. If they know, they're doing a real good job of hiding the fact that they know. But she said
There
tonight
it is.
that that wasn't the case. That she doesn't know the numbers that they're receiving in the camera. So they don't know how many are going to the UK. So I guess you guys fall into the same category as us: lack of communication.
Yeah,
I'm
just
sure that they don't want to give an exact number. Mosman, yeah, that there's been a lot of comments on that over in our Nikon rumors talking about. A lot of people have said that they found items, and you were just mentioning it too, Briar. They found items over at the Nikon USA website that weren't available in stores, and they found some items that were in stores, dealers that weren't available over in Nikon USA. So Nikon USA does hold a certain amount of gear, obviously for sale directly from them. So it's just a matter of who runs out first, I guess. So
yeah.
would it be better if Nikon USA said, you know what, we don't hold stock, we're not going to be a retailer here? That kind of tough being a retailer and a distributor at the same time.
Retailer, wholesaler. No.
Yeah. That was a topic last week, Lee. Well, it's been around for a few weeks with B&H putting up the 15th, and I still believe that they had something to. They had a reason for doing that, putting up the 15th, and things changed with Nikon USA or Nikon Japan. I don't know, But I can't imagine they just said, let's pick a date, throw a dart. Yeah, the 15th. We're going to put that up there as available. No, there was more to it than them just picking the date. There, again, another one of those things we'll never know, but I guess it doesn't matter now anyway. It's come and gone.
So so the ship date is the 24th? Is that the first ship date? Christmas Eve
Well,
is the
yes and no. That's the date they gave us, but somebody said their dealer told them that their camera is there. So they're already out to at least some of the dealers, if not
oh,
all.
okay.
Their camera was there, but they couldn't release it until tomorrow. I
Oh.
saw that comment today.
And is it only NPS members that they can sell them to, or
Didn't say. Didn't
because
say.
I'd be curious to know that.
Yeah. On the Payboot card thing, yeah, I got a email a while back or a week ago talking about that B&H was going to sever their business with Synchrony Bank, and that if don't worry about that because they're working to provide the same service through yet another bank, I would suppose. But the 17th of January, it's over with Payboot, and we'll be using Payboot 2, I guess.
Feibu 2.0.
I wonder, come on, B&H, where did you get this name from? Is that significant and I just don't know it? You know,
I understand the pay, but are you
yeah,
their boo? I guess if they know you're going to be paying them for the next 2 years in
yeah,
monthly
yeah,
installments, you're their
yeah.
boo.
Oh man. So Hank, there you
No,
go. There's a comment, and this is the same boat that Zach was in. He just told me because I used the B&H credit card, my camera would ship on the 26th. That they were receiving 4,000. She guaranteed me. Zach got the exact same word from another customer service rep at B&H. So what are we to believe?
I wonder if B&H is getting more Z9s than all the other companies, all the other retailers combined in the United States. 4,000, man.
Yeah, that would be, that's a significant percentage of the
At least
worldwide production.
right, like a third of the worldwide production. If the numbers are right, and those are rumored numbers, right? So we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. So you know what? That's good news for me if that's true because I'm only looking for one arriving at the store I bought it from. If they get one, I'll be happy. And that's pretty selfish, I guess, but all right.
It was I'm gonna say, was it Touch Life Studio? Am I the only one excited about the Z9's vertical tilt screen? I'm excited too, man. I'm excited about that. I mean, it's a different. I'm 46 and I have a torn meniscus in my left knee. I will no longer crouch down, knees bent to get a shot. So yes, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be awesome for weddings. Just put it low, just for a different perspective. I'm going to use the heck out of that. I already tilt the screen down, hold it up, so you don't have to get on the ladder anymore. Because man, a ladder in the dance floor, in the middle of the dance floor, is dangerous. if there's no parking on the dance floor,
Especially later in the night, huh?
right when the booze, when they're boozing,
All right, Briar, take off for a second. I'm gonna go fill my coffee cup up. Yeah, I'm one of them crazies that drinks until I go to bed.
I'm relegated to water here. So, all right, let's see if we have any other questions, guys, or comments. Terry says Nikon officials said the 23rd and NPS priority request first, others later after those are fulfilled. Something I was thinking about, Terry, is how many people balked at the Z9 purchase? How many people put in 3 orders at 3 different retailers? They're still only going to buy one. So some are going to, they're going to have a few. Inevitably, I think they're going to have a few available for people. That's what I'm thinking. I remember even Vahagen, I think, said that they're going to have that he purchased 2 of them, or that he's got 2 on order. I guess he couldn't have purchased 2 of them. That would be an expensive thing to do. I know it's the store that Thom Hogan buys from. I forget the name of it, but they're requiring a $500 deposit, so they make sure that you're serious about your purchase. But I think we're going to see some spare Z9s floating out there that some folks are going to be happy to snatch up because they're willing to pay. And the NPS member dropped them, ordered it at 3 different places. And
oh, quit it, Nikon. You're going to get it before 18 months.
realistic. Wow. Yeah. I wonder, so the new facility that Nikon rumors reported on about a month ago, is that a production facility in Japan, or is that just a new headquarters? Or I don't remember. I know I read it. I just don't remember what kind of facility it is. It looked beautiful, looked big and beautiful.
Yeah, that's the new headquarters, I think.
Oh, okay. So it's HQ, probably not production.
Yeah, I think they were spread all over the place. Their headquarters. It was broken down in. I have a friend that went to Japan last spring. He was over there, and he went to the museum, the Nikon museum. He said you can't imagine how hard it is to find it. It's like on one floor of some business building, and there's almost no advertising outside. Maybe again,
There you go.
maybe you need to fire your marketing department.
Of
But
100 years. Yeah.
yeah, he said it was very difficult to find, and of course he doesn't speak Japanese, so it was hard getting information.
Our Japanese friends are the leaders in tech, world tech.
Yeah,
I just picture like some, 150-year-old Japanese guy in some kind of sarcophagus at Nikon. You open it up, he gives him advice. And it's this, 150-year-old advice that doesn't apply to 2021. I just, man, I'm with you, Chuck. I just wonder who's behind their marketing and, Oh, so Lee says B&H won't charge until it ships. Yeah, because when you were getting your coffee, Chuck, we were talking about the supply and how possibly some could get freed up because, like Verhagen said, didn't he order it at a couple of different places? He's not buying 2. He's only going to buy 1, the first one that comes up. So that one will then get freed up for somebody else. So
yeah,
I think, so there's going to be some of that. I don't know if it'll be more than like 5%, maybe, just a goose guess, but it's going to happen.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think there were, most of the dealers probably. So again, one of my understandings about the process for the dealers and Nikon equipment is that based on their sales of Nikon equipment or cameras, gear, whatever, and how they're divvied up is based on their sales and what they're ordering. And then it may be all that they ask for or somewhere in the middle. But for this camera, at least for the store I ordered from, they said they won't tell me the numbers, but they said, yeah, the number of people that have inquired about it and then decided to get on a waiting list is incredible. And I said, well, there are probably a lot of people that are looking for alternates. And, I don't know how that's affected you all. She said, oh, it happens. No doubt about it. But we order enough. And with this camera, there's no way we're going to have any sitting around. There's
not at first.
They're confident.
Right. Not at first.
This kind of thing is confident too, that no matter how many people back out of their multiple orders at different locations, somebody's standing in line to take it.
So someone asked if it was made, if the Z9 is made in Japan. I know that the 100 to 400 is made in Japan, but I haven't seen the screen pulled out. Isn't that where they put the made in sticker now?
Yep.
Yeah, it's on the inside. So it's not on the bottom. No, it is on the bottom too. My Z6 II, it's on the bottom here too. So it's in two
think
places.
It's being made in Thailand, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm okay with that. Although I say that, but I was happy when I heard the 100 to 400 was going to be made in Japan. I'm like, yes, you know, I don't know why, because the stuff that comes out of Thailand is just as good. Yeah,
it's not like Nikon sent it down there without any supervision. Yeah, you
right.
guys can send them to me.
It's just a perception. I'm an amateur astronomer too, and there's this phenomenal lens making company, Nagler. I think it's called Teleview. The guy's last name might be Nagler, and they used to be made in Japan. And I remember we used to freak out about that when we found out this new eyepiece was made in Japan. You know, it was, you know, but I've never used a bad Nagler. Some are made in Taiwan now, and those were awesome too. It's just perception, I think. As long as the same quality control standards there, I think it's okay.
So the big thing is you know, I think that the glass, you're talking lenses that aren't made in Japan. The chief marketing, whatever, a few weeks ago, a month ago, I had one of the live streams and I was quoting him out of an article, and he said that all their high-end glasses or lenses are still going to be made in Japan. So whatever they consider high-end. It doesn't mean every lens, but you know, maybe.
I think the 70 to 200, I think, is maybe Thailand. I want to say I have the 7200. I don't know. It's not made in Japan. I know that.
Yeah, he talked about their manufacturing in Thailand and everything else, and you know, basically said, rest assured, we have, you know, there are no tolerances. There's no tolerance for a shoddy product or whatever.
No,
so they have all of their folks there as well working alongside in Thailand. But all the glass, high-end glass, and I'm not talking lenses now, I'm talking actually glass. That's all coming from Japan, whether it's built in Japan or not. But the glass itself is coming from Japan. And I think that's what everybody likes about when they hear, is it being made in Japan? I don't know what glass wouldn't be, but he did make that point to say that all the high-end glass will still be made in Japan.
Yeah, Hank said 70 to 200 was Thailand. Yeah, I knew it wasn't Japan. I'd remember that. But yeah, it is a phenomenal. That 70 to 200 Z it's a beast, man. I call it my sniper. You know, that just beautiful image after beautiful image. It's just amazing. I'm hoping, like I was telling you, Chuck, I hope that when I use the 100 to 400, what I can say about it is just like the 70 to 200, except it's a 100 to 400.
I agree.
That's what I want to think when I use that, because if that's the case, man.
Yep. I've got the 80 to 400, which I liked. It did fine for what I did, but it wasn't on par with the 70 to 200F. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it works out. I really am.
Some lenses are so good they can almost do no wrong. I mean, really, that it's, you know.
Yeah, Jeffrey said Nikon can't afford any quality issues. I agree that right now they're on a roll. They need to stay on it, and I'm sure they will.
The only quality issue I ever had with a Nikon was the 600. The mirror would I think it had the oil from the flip mechanism.
Yep.
You know, the oil splatter in one of the top left hand corner. I don't know where that makes it. Might be it might be flipped or reversed or whatever because of the mirror. But yeah, I saw that a lot. I had to clean that camera a lot, and it got to the point where I just I got a 610.
Yeah.
I traded it in, and the 610, you know, I still had some issues with it, but it wasn't as bad.
You're still shooting with your 610, right?
I am. I do real estate with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people raved about that camera, even the D600. I mean, other than the fact that it went through the mechanical issue of the oil splatter from the mirror. So, yeah.
It's a phenomenal camera, and it's built like a tank. I bought it used. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, I bought it used, and I think it had 20,000 clicks on it. I'm at 420,000 clicks.
Wow.
Still going. I have photographed thousands of houses with that camera, and I've dropped it. I've face planted it into the concrete with the lens on it, and neither the lens nor the camera broke. Ceramic tile and concrete.
Wow.
Nikon builds great, tough cameras, man. And case in point, my boss who shoots for the real estate photography company I work for, his Canon has bitten the dust a few times and it broke. So I'm just being silly, but it really did break. The lens broke, the lens shattered. I tell you what though, I have the tulip head on it.
Yep.
What do you call it? The lens hood? I call it the tulip head, the lens hood, and I have a UV filter on it. And when it bit the ceramic the last time that I dropped it, you're not going to be able to see this, but the filter is now it's crushed right here into the lens, so I can't take this filter off.
Yeah.
It's stuck. But man, these cameras can take so much abuse. It's amazing, and that's one of the reasons that I'm still a Nikon shooter. I might have switched by now if these cameras broke that easily.
Yeah, I was out in Utah a few years ago shooting with the 14-24 and my D850, and I sat the camera down on the floorboard of the car we were in, so it had about 1 foot to the ground, and that camera rolled out. I kicked it. I mean, I bumped it something, rolled out, landed on the hood of the 14-24, and it broke.
But that's a bulbous front element, right?
Yes,
I mean, that thing is coming out.
The built-in lens hood did at least save the lens,
Mm-hmm.
but still had to send it in to get it repaired. But yeah, that's the only lens I've ever had break, and I can't say I've dropped any from any significant distance, but yeah, they've been bumped around or whatever. I have never had any problem. That was the only one. It just landed perfectly to break that lens hood. Of course, because it's made to the lens. It couldn't have been some other lens.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the only problem I've had as far as breakage.
Yeah, no, they're incredibly durable cameras. That's one of the reasons I love them. And take a look.
Actually, I got the when I had the D700, I got the 14-24 not long afterwards. I was shooting a lot of events, indoor events, a lot of motorcycle shows and things like that, car shows. And man, that 14-24 will save you in an indoor event like that with bikes and cars. You just don't have a lot of room to move. Yeah, you got to be careful because it will distort things. I mean, obviously, at 14 millimeter. But yeah, as a great lens, I still have it. My question is when am I going to start letting go of some of my F-mount glass?
Yeah, to pay for your it's tough. But if you want to pay for your new Z glass, you might have to.
Well, I sold my D5. That was in preparation for the Z9, and sold a couple of other lenses that I just never used. But yeah, I'm talking about quite a few that I'm going to have to part with. Not because I need them to fund anything. I just at some point
If you're not using them.
I'll keep a couple. I still have D500. I still have a D850. So I don't.
You're still stacked, man. You can you can afford to. You remember there was a Van Halen song in the 90s, Right Now, and I'll never forget that line because I apply it to my life. He said, the more things you get, the more you want, just trade in one for the other. And that's what I do with my camera gear. When I want something, I always trade something toward it.
I would like to have everything I've had, but it just wasn't feasible.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be so cool to have everything I have like on a shelf, like some folks have. It's just not practical for me. But yeah, I would love to have that too. I still have my first camera. Watch, I've got my N50 here. I used this when I was a newspaper photographer. In '94, I bought it. Right here, N50. Still works, and it's still, even a year ago I checked, and they still sell the battery for it.
Yeah, great.
So I could if I wanted to, I could power it up again.
Terry's a big film shooter, and he's gotten an enlarger and everything. He develops his own black and white.
Oh, you develop your own stuff? Oh man. When I worked for a newspaper back in the mid 90s, we had a Walmart right down the street from us. So they developed our color film. but we developed our own black and whites. So when we'd shoot sports black and white, and so we'd go into the dark room Friday night after the football games, the high school football games, and we develop our film, and then we'd run them through a negative scanner to digitize them, because it was, you know, it was digital. And oh, this is crazy. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, Chuck, typing it in or whatever, but Apple released their first digital camera. I forgot what it's called, but it was 200,000 pixels. So it wasn't even a quarter of a megapixel. And so my editor, you know, I go in one day and he says, "Brar," that's how he talked. "Brar, I bought something for you to try out." And he hands me a box, and it's an Apple camera. I open it up. It's shaped like a UFO. You can look it up. It was shaped like a UFO with almost like a mohawk on the top of it. And it was so cool. And the only thing that we could use that for was real estate, because back then you would take, you know, it would this big in the paper, like a 1 by 1/2 inch, and that's it. The image would fall apart after that with 200,000 pixels. But it was cool because it was a digital camera, and this was like 1996.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 97. But you know, that's it blows my mind to think that we now have, you know, 50 million pixel cameras. How many times that resolution, you know, 600 times the resolution of the Apple whatever. That's what Nikon needs in their market.
People would use it and printed it in 8x10s and call it the Rave, you know.
Right. Oh yeah. Man.
Mosman says I had the Kodak version of that camera.
Oh yeah. So they released something to compete with it. Yeah. Just goes to show you how early in the game Apple was throwing their, because they were all computers then. I mean, that's it. Yeah. And they try to make a digital camera, and now they've got Bruno Mars, who they probably paid $10 million to sing, you know, a 30-second tune. It's just incredible.
Oh man. You know, I love you guys over in the chat. I love the audience. We have a great audience, and that
it's a good group of people. I was telling my wife that it's just good.
Going back through some of the comments. I know I missed things. I'm sorry about that, folks. That was the whole purpose of doing this, is keep everybody engaged, or not engaged, but involved, you know.
Yeah, we get carried away and talk.
But hey, Briar, and I want to do this publicly while everybody's in here. Appreciate you dropping in tonight. And
oh, sure, I appreciate you, Chuck. Thanks for doing what you do. I couldn't host a YouTube show, but I'm happy to participate. It's cool.
I don't know that I do it very well, but I do have fun.
You do a great job, man. You really do. You keep the conversation going, and what else can you do in these?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that's it. I mean,
keep it going, and then the comments and the questions keep things going too. It's, you know, it's convenient to have something to feed off of, something to talk about right here on the side of you. You know, it's cool.
So I promised I would have this up and running, and I will. I really like the idea of people being able to call in and talk to the guest or me or whatever, and ask questions or voice an opinion. And I know that we got it working, but I have a problem on my end. I can't hear both the feed from the stream and the individual on the phone. So I'm trying to work that out, folks. And I really want to get it going, because I think it really makes it fun for everybody. You can call in and say, "Hey, Briar, you know, I disagree," or, "Hey, you know, what did you like most about real estate photography?" and things like that. So we will get it. We will get it working, because I want you guys involved even more.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be fun. The sports shows are tough to do that, man. The disagreements, the arguments they get into from the callers.
Yeah.
Like who's the best of all time, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Polarizing. Well,
You
Chuck, I
know,
just got.
Radio Shack. Yeah. How many people remember Radio Shack? There aren't many of them left. I don't even know where one is,
Yeah,
but I've been there many times in my ham radio days.
yeah. I think we have a couple still in Baton Rouge. Not as many as we used to, but Chuck, I just got the signal from my wife, so I'm going to be the good hubs and tell you
Absolutely.
guys good night. But thanks very much for this. It was so much fun. I enjoyed it.
Well,
I'd love to
thank
do it
you.
again if you want to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to get people in here, and especially, tonight was more about the NPS thing, and now we're all anticipating the shipping of the camera and all that. But I'd like to get into some topics, Nikon, Nikon related, because that's what we shoot and that's what we love. And I don't want to be bashing the other brands, but talking about how we employ our Nikon cameras, from real estate to whatever it is. So look for more of those coming. But we still got a few Z9 zingers to get, in before we start down that road.
Yeah, before we get them,
Uh, all right. I'm not going to hold you up, Briar. So I hope
sure.
the audience wishes you well. And if I don't talk to you beforehand, have a very Merry Christmas, you and your family.
Y'all do the same, Chuck. Thanks very much, man. Bless
You're
your heart. It was great to get to know you. Great to talk with you, Chuck. Thank you.
I enjoyed it. So have a great night.
Yeah, y'all
And
do the
thank
same,
Mama
guys.
for letting you come in here.
I'll do that.
All right.
Got to get permission.
Yeah. All right. I know
All
how
right.
that goes.
Y'all take care, guys. Have a good
All
night.
right. Bye. All right. Oh, and so Briar contacted me earlier and said if he'd jump in the show tonight, and I really appreciate it. And I'm sure you guys do too, because you're just going to hear me get up here and rant and rave. So we didn't ever answer the question. I don't think there is an answer on NPS. Is it right or wrong? It's a real difficult topic because there are a lot of factors that determine whether it's right or wrong, or could it be better. I think that it could be better. I don't think that we need to get rid of NPS. I just think there's a way to make it a bit more fair, and that sounds pretty selfish coming from somebody that isn't NPS. um, but you just can't um, run your entire customer base off trying to cater to a small segment. I would say it's a small segment. I don't know how many NPS members there are, but I definitely believe that the Joe consumer out here, non NPS member, outnumbers those folks. So I just we'll see what happens in the next few days. If I don't hear anything by uh, Friday, then I guess that means that I'm going to be in the next boatload that arrive. I don't know. We don't know when that's coming, and it would be nice again if Nikon would at least give us some idea how often we could expect shipments of cameras. I I'm just I don't know. Just looking down here at the chat, a lot of people are taking off. Terry, hey, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you showing up so often. I hope you have a Merry Christmas if we don't talk before then. Let's see. Jeffrey, all right, buddy. I know how it goes. I appreciate you hanging in here for as long as you did. Have a Merry Christmas. Hope you and family have a wonderful Christmas. Uh, hey, good. Yeah, thanks, man. You know, I don't have any facts to base a lot of this stuff on. I just think that it's just common sense. There are a lot of us out here that really want this camera. We're dedicated Nikon shooters. We have, I mean, so many people have so much Nikon gear. It would just be nice if there was some help from Nikon in soothing our pain from memos that state that we're probably left out in the cold. That doesn't mean forever, but it's just nice to know that we're thought of too. So their marketing team once again is knocking it out of the park, not, and a lot of it has to do with Nikon USA. Hey, I'm grateful that they're there, but they could do a better job, I think, in communicating to us as well. So that said, I have applied again to NPS. I don't know how it's going to go this time, but if I get an application, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of back and forth with NPS because I can't show my camera work. Um, anyway, that's a long story. Once it happens, I'll be glad to explain it, and I'll definitely bring the secret code with me when I come out of the NPS dome and share it with everybody so they understand how it works. Uh, yeah, Lee, if there hadn't been any COVID, it might have been different. Yeah, it did, no doubt about it would have been a bit different. I don't know how much it's had to play, how much it's affected what we're seeing right at the moment. But I think down the road and numbers of cameras and things like that, the chip shortage, which is part of the COVID issue, um, is going to really take effect. So I think the longer you wait for your camera, the longer it's going to be, if that makes any sense. Uh, Growing, some companies may not be keeping up with the demands for their products. Yep, absolutely, Agnetha. I'm just going to click on them here. We'll read them to each other. B&H most likely, or probably actually began to send out. Yeah, I think you'll see some by Thursday. Shoot, we might even see some tomorrow. I don't know. It's really going to be interesting. A lot of people were hoping for that magic box for Christmas. I know I was, but that's not going to happen. And now we wait. I just hope that there are enough out there. Uh, Looking at the comments, folks, to see what you've got here. I guess a lot of people had already dropped. Hank, if you're in here, thank you very much for the Merry Christmas. Um, yeah, it'll be here soon, or sooner rather than later, I guess. And hey, Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. Uh, Totally AI camera would sell something with smartphone style AI and apps, uh, but a big sensor actual camera. Yeah, that's interesting. I think we're going to see that. And Terry, I know you've already dropped out of the chat, but yeah, I think we're going to see something like that in a few years. I don't think it's going to be all that far down the road. And then we'll be complaining about what need is there of a photographer. Well, somebody's got to carry that brain around and let it take photos, I guess. A lot of stores have Z9 but can't sell until at least the 24th. Yeah, Mike, like I was saying, that somebody said that their store had told them they can't ship until tomorrow, um, or they can't release it until tomorrow. I think it's the way he wrote that. So yeah, we're gonna hear more and more about it next week. So I'm gonna be on here Saturday night, folks, Christmas night. Yes, that's how dedicated I am to this channel. No, I'm just kidding. I will be on Saturday night. If anybody wants to jump on and talk about what they got for Christmas, and I don't care whether it's camera or not, but obviously we'd be talking cameras. So if you want to join me, I'll just be on here rambling by myself for a while. And but I absolutely want to say, don't take away from your family or anything that's going on Christmas. I just have the opportunity Christmas evening to do it, and I'll be in here. But if you want to talk about what Santa brought you, by all means, drop by. And if we have heard anything else about the Z9, we'll talk about it on Saturday night, Christmas night. Uh, uh, okay, thank you. I'll pop it up here, Lee. Yeah, I think they're going to be confirmation of shipment Monday or Tuesday next week, as they kind of promised me. Yeah, I think next week it will be interesting. We're going to hear about some people getting it. The question is it going to be strictly NPS members? And I know that whoever it was you spoke to at Ben H told Zach or Z Wade photo the same exact information. So either they've put out a policy, anybody calling about the Z9, here's what you'll say, or it's true. And I prefer to believe that it's true. And a whole lot more of us are going to have camera in hand soon. So, uh, uh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I want to bring that up too, Lee. Yeah. You're not NPS. Yeah, and there's no way that you can fake that, because I think NPS, or yeah, NPS USA assigns a number for the purchase or something like that. So yeah, uh, so nobody's getting away with cheating that by saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm an NPS member," and I know because I tried it. I'm just kidding. I didn't try it. No, I didn't order from B&H. If you're talking to me, I ordered from Picture Line Camera out in Salt Lake City. I This will be the seventh camera that I bought from them. So they've always done me right. And if for some reason I'm not in the first batch, I know that it won't be their fault. I know that because they're great people out there. It's a great store. I mean, obviously, it's not as large as a B&H or Adorama as far as square footage, but still a great store. Beautiful store too. Great people too when you talk to them. They said to me, "We have product for all back orders to be shipped by next week." That's impressive, Lee. And again, I hope all this holds true. It sure wasn't in the D850 days, although I was fortunate enough to get one. You got a lot of gear from Picture Line when you lived in Salt Lake City? Well, I live in Connecticut and I still get a lot from them. That's how much I like the folks there and the store. So, my closest is, for those that haven't heard me say, closest brick and mortar is B&H or Adorama. So, but I'm not running down into the city. It's not that far, but it takes a long time, as you might imagine. I'm not running down there physically. However, if I had ordered a Z9 and they said it was there, do you want us to ship it? I'd probably say, no, hold it. I'll be there soon. Uh, yeah, they are a very high end store. They are. And again, the staff is fantastic. The owner's great. And they put on a lot of events out there, photography type events. And it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot to shoot out there in Salt Lake City area and beyond there in Utah. Uh, I'm just looking at something else here. Anything else that we can? All right, folks. I'm about out of gas here. I don't have a lot more to talk about, but I'll stay here as long as you guys want to hang in here and just chat. But I'm going to flip that bugger on you. You guys start talking about what you want to discuss. 1031 and it says back order. Oh, where's that at B&H? Hey, thanks, Lee. Appreciate you being in here. Thanks for all the info, and all the conversation. God bless you. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. If I don't see you before then, have a Merry Christmas. Pass that on to the family. So you ordered at B&H on the 31st. Okay. I wonder if that's far enough. Because yeah, they get probably 1,000 orders within a couple of hours. So yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. Hmm. Uh, See, Lee took off. I was going to ask him if his status had changed on his order with B&H. So I'm wondering. Hmm. Well, you aren't kidding, Mike. Yeah, I think that the demand for it's going to keep it out of hands for those that just now making a decision that they want to for whatever reason, and it may not be just because they couldn't make up their mind. Maybe they just, maybe they just now put themselves in a financial position to actually buy it or whatever. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. But it's easier for them, I think, than it is for all of us that pre-ordered because they know going into it what they're up against. And we don't know how many they're actually producing, although we heard 3,500. Maybe it will be a little better uh, here in a few months. I don't know. Thanks, Nican. Change to say new order. What does that mean? Any idea, Mosman? Ordered B&H. Let me throw it up here. Ordered B&H within 2 minutes of them opening up on 10/28. Mine says back ordered still, but the FTZ2 did ship out today. Okay, I've heard of a lot of people saying that they got notified that their FTZ2 had shipped, so that's a good thing. Which is really, you know what, dumb me. Why not look at all the indicators? With the lenses, like the 1 to 400 shipping, the FTZ2 shipping, I don't think Nikon said, well, you know what, we're going to ship them all in separate shipments. So I'm sure Z9s were in that container as well. That should have been a green light on, hey, it's going to ship real soon. Um, and obviously, we've seen a couple of cameras leak out. Well, they're not leaks. For whatever reason, Nikon told them they could go ahead and discuss it. Matt Irwin down in Australia, and of course, JP. And it seems like somebody else had said something. Oh, yes. Um, Doggone it. I talked about him earlier. He got his as well. Never seen new order status. Yeah, me either. I don't know what that means. Hmm, it's interesting. On DPR, okay. A lot of noise there. Oh, I bet there is. Man, oh man. That's another tough crowd over there on the forum with anything Nikon. Uh, yeah, that's the word we got. And I saw that Nikon Rumors had that as well by the 24th. Rail, nice to meet you. Just checked it, switched to new orders. You have any idea what that means? That's the first time I've seen that with B&H. I wonder what that means. Obviously, they don't give any explanation, I guess. New order. Hmm. I can see how that would make me concerned. It's like, did you lose my first one? You didn't lose my payment, did you? Oh, I haven't looked at Nikon rumors, obviously, since this started. Hmm. I'm looking right now, folks. Just jumped over here to see if there's anything new. Canada, somebody talking about their Z9 has arrived, but they can't give it to me today because the release date is tomorrow. It's an NPS order. Okay, well, that's interesting. Hmm. Just wanted to check and see if anybody was chatting about it right now, recently, since we got on the stream. And I don't see anything really new. Peter does a great job. I know I say it all the time, but he does. He does a great job over there. I mean, he can't help the people that jump into the forum. But all right, back to the show. There we go. New order. What could that mean? What is that? I don't know. So you're in the boat I'm in, and a lot of people are in, I guess. Well, no, you could use your FTZ too, I guess, now with the camera. I have the uh, Z mount TC 2.0, which I can't use. I can't use until the 100 to 400 arrives because I have not bought the 70 to 200 yet. Um, I was saving for the Z9. So eventually, I guess I'll get that. I don't know. It depends on how the 1 to 400, just how good that lens is. I might go the 24 120 f4 and leave it at that. I hear my bride sneaking down. I have not played with the 51.2, but I was jonesing for it hard. I've seen a lot of people shooting with it. Z Wade just did a couple of videos with it. I think it's a fantastic lens. I have the 51.8, which I like. I think it's a great lens. But the 1.2 has its own, you know, rendition that just, it is nice. I've been waiting for the 85 1.2. I would be very interested in that. You know, I have quite a collection of F mount glass, but I've collected that over the last 12 years, 12, 13 years, 14 years. And I know that it'll take a while for me to find the same, or to, got to get rid of somebody here real quick. There we go. I don't know why we do this block because they're going to just find another, just make up another YouTube name. So yeah, it's going to take me a while to, you know, build a collection of S mount or a Z mount glass. But I wanted the 1 to 400. I do like shooting, you know, some wildlife. I mean, I'm not traveling to Alaska to shoot whatever, grizzlies and whatever. But I do like the birds that I have available here, and you know, shooting the ducks that are back behind the house and things like that. So I wanted another long lens. Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. When do I get rid of my F mount glass? I think maybe I'll start transitioning and selling certain lenses that I just don't shoot with much anymore, and using that to maybe pick up the next new, or for me, the next new Z lens. All right, folks, I would love to stay in here, but I'm kind of dragging today. Mosman just got my, see, on Monday. Haven't had a chance to even shoot it yet. I can't wait to compare it to the 7200. Need to get a teleconverter for some tests. Yeah, that's the one thing I have going for me is I have the teleconverter. I just need the lens now, and I'll obviously be shooting it on the Z6 II, and we're going to see how well it does. I'm going to stack it up though, without the TC against the 400-2.8 that I have. I want to see the comparison there. And mind you, my 400-2.8 is probably, it's over 20 years old. Yeah, it's probably in the 25-year old age. But it's a fantastic lens. Always was on the D850, D500, and D5. So we'll see how it works on the Z9 when I get it, and I'm going to shoot it against the 1 to 400. I'm hoping the 1 to 400 is better. I know it sounds crazy. Agnetha, thank you very much, and thank you for dropping in here. Always good to see you drop in now. Yeah, absolutely. On the not giving you very much for your lenses, you're right. So when I say transition and trade or whatever, I really don't mean literally with the camera stores. I'll sell them. I've been pretty successful over the years selling them. Used to be on eBay. I did it on eBay a lot. Nowadays, it's even harder to watch out for the scams. But I'll put them on Facebook Marketplace. I've been real successful there. And you got somebody local that you can meet in person. It makes you feel a whole lot better. Paid 1,700 and they offer you like 450. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're gonna maybe it is a bit harsh, but obviously they're gonna they want it for resale. And they want to make a buck on it, but maybe they want to make too much. I don't know. But then again, F mount lenses, there'll be a craze for those used here for another year or so. But soon the price is going to drop out from under the F mount glass. It's going to go dirt cheap. It's going to be hard to get rid of, even, I think. But for a couple of years, there are a lot of people out there that aren't transitioning to mirrors just because they don't want to, can't afford to, or whatever. But there's going to be some prime glass come up for sale a whole lot cheaper than it was new. You can bet there are people waiting for that. Thank you, Albert. Appreciate it. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a New Year. And I hope to see you before New Year. But, you know, everybody has to enjoy their holiday while they can. And I understand that. But again, Saturday night, Christmas night, I'll be around. And if you want to chat, I'll be here. We still got 14 people in there. I think some people just went to sleep with me blathering on. Thanks a lot of good. And anybody else, everybody else out there. Again, I'm absolutely humbled that people come by. If you would drop a like, only because it just makes me makes me feel good. You know, I really mean that. It makes me feel like that we're having a good time, and I just need to keep doing it. I'm not doing it for the algorithm or anything else. Again, it's just put a smile on my face. So stay away, stay away from Sony shooters and COVID. Thanks. Yeah, no problem, husband. And you guys drop in here, and if you guys want to jump in with an opportunity to be on the stream, by all means, you know, drop a comment, let me know, send an email. It's on the channel page about, and we'll bring you in here. You know, you're as important as all the big time influencers. And this way we get a chance to share some of our own knowledge. I have a Facebook page, by the way. It's a Nikon Amateurs group. And you know, I'm trying to open that up because there we're not going to start, you know, grabbing people's photos and re-editing them and showing them that their edit was bad to begin with and all that kind of stuff. No, it's just another place to go and chat. It's primarily Nikon, but that doesn't mean you can't join or can't be part of the group if you're not a Nikon shooter. So anyway, think about that. Drop a like. Hope you all had a good time. I know I did, and I really appreciate Briar showing up and talking to us tonight as well. So God bless you all. Have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. Take care, folks. Oh, can't stop. Agnetha, you know, may get the Sony A7 and have a marshmallow roast over the camera. Yeah. All right, Agnetha. Again, night all, folks. Have a have a great evening. What's left of it. And we'll talk to you Christmas night if you happen to drop in. Again, God bless. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.